Yo, what's going down, Wargamers? Steve here for Command Center Wargaming. Alright, fantastic everybody. We've got some pretty super fantastic news coming out right now, so it's pretty awesome. We've finally got an update from Games Workshop into regards to the Shadowspear content. It looks like they listened to a lot of our crying and whinging over the last few days, and they've actually put out an update. Now, it's a small update, okay, but they have revealed something finally, not just little snippets of little teasers from the rumor engine. All right, so you know, they've actually gone through and released this article here, which I will go through and I will put in the links down below so that you can follow it in the description. But it basically tells us a little bit about the story, the setting for the Shadowspear box, and I'll go into that in a second. But it turns out it's actually off on another moon in the Vigilus system. So it looks like there's a planet that's called Vigilus, and it's in the Vigilus system. And then there's a moon there. I think it was called Negeist or something like that. So Nemegeist. I believe that's how you say it. Yeah, and it's basically like a demon engine factory planet off to the side there in the Vigilus system. And essentially there's a whole setup there where the Chaos Black Legion have their flesh vats and factories where they're going through and they're making their demon engines and stuff. And the operation is headed by this guy. All right, so this is kind of like a sorcerer possessor guy. And we've seen him before. It's nothing new here, but we actually get a little bit of a glimpse at the back of him. So you can see he's got this really cool sort of like backpack here, and the Eye of Horus in the middle. We see the back of his staff, which is really awesome, and you got sort of like this fur, all that around his backpack there, and the skull, some bones. So it's really cool. I really like these models. I'm really liking these models because they've stepped away from the whole 1,000 spikes on everything, you know? And, you know, there's some spiky parts, like, don't get me wrong, but, you know, there's just enough spikes without just making it, like, all look the same. So, like, I've got nothing against the spikes, you know, but just not on every single thing. It's like, you know, you have spikes on the back of Terminators, okay? Fine. And then you have spikes on the back of Terminator Lords, and it's like, fine, you know? But it's like, then when you start, okay, how do we make this a Chaos Rhino? And we're just going to get a Rhino and just put spikes on it. How are we going to make this a Chaos Land Raider? Let's just get a Land Raider and put spikes on it. When you get to that point, it's kind of just like, guys, like, you know, there are other sharp things other than spikes, which it seems to me that the Games Workshop design team have actually started to realize now. So, like, you know, Harken Worldclaimer had his awesome spear. It's still spiky, but it's not a spike. It's a spear. All right, this guy's got his Rod of the Ram, or whatever you call it. And it's got spikes on it, but it's not a spike. And he's sort of like, you know, got his little halo here, his iron halo with a brutal skull in the middle, which is pretty awesome. And again, there's spikes on it, but it's not a spike, right? So, you know, there's a spike, but it's got fire on it. So, you know, like I said, they're changing it up. Right, they're changing it up. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I want to see. And you know, again here, you know, like this Venom Crawler or Venom Walker, whatever it is they called it. You know, this has got the spikes on it. You know, that's fine. But you know, they're kind of different spikes. They're curved a little bit. All right, so all good. So, and then we have the Supreme Ordeal, which is this guy here. Now, this looks like a possessed Marine. And he fits into the story of the Vigilus Shadowspear campaign here, because essentially what's going on this planet is that, you know, they're mixing dark warp energy, sort of sorcery, with cybernetics, with, you know, with human flesh and stuff like that to create these monstrosities, and this is one of them. So, you know, so this is I believe this is a possessed Marine. And again, you got spikes, but they're different. You got sharp parts, but they're different. And, you know, look at that massive claw sort of going on. I actually thought this claw was part of a Slaanesh model at first, when we first saw it on the rumor engine. I actually thought it was part of Fulgrim. But, you know, like, it's all good. It still can be an Emperor's Children model, because it's, you know, this guy can be painted up, you know, whatever color you want, all right, to fit him in whatever army you want, right? So it's an absolutely beautiful model. You know, I'm looking here, he's got this awesome sort of like Slaneshi crab claw, this brutal hand with these brutal sort of, you know, nails, these spikes. So it's like the guy with the nails from Superman 4, you know, like, you know, it's a huge hand, you know, very powerful. And it kind of, you know, it looks powerful, but it looks different. And it looks like a Marine, but it looks different. So it's fitting the genre, it's fitting the design aesthetic, but it looks different at the same time. And like, I'm really digging it. Like, I'm really, really digging this model. I'm loving it, actually. And you can see here, you know, you've got sort of like the organic parts sort of overgrowing there. And I don't know exactly if this is like a mask. So if this skull part is like meant to be like a mask, like armor, or if it's meant to actually be like, you know, part of the flesh, part of the mutation, kind of thing. So I'm still trying to work that out, but either way, like, it looks absolutely fantastic. And it's a whole, you know, flesh versus metal thing that they've got going on. You know, they've even got, you know, you've even got ribs here as part of the armor, taking some design aesthetic from, like, you know, the Prometheus engineers and things like that. The sculpt itself has been very, very well thought out. You've got this skull sort of like, you know, in flight here on the model. So it's like as this Chaos Marine is sort of rushing and jumping in with its claw, the skull is kind of like flapping, you know, with emotion. So it's really awesome. So you can see this, you know, this unit being very fast but very powerful at the same time. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. And the reason is because, you know, like, we're looking at a sculpt, we're looking at a little miniature, and, you know, to be able to get a lot of that sort of miniature's personality and movement into the pose, into the model, you know, it's not moving, it's static. So it's a very good achievement from the artists and the sculptors at Games Workshop. And I'm very, very happy to see them implementing a lot of that in. You know, unlike, you know, some other models that they do where, like, it's just, you know, the poses just aren't completely selling the model. But anyway, awesome. And then even this is sort of like angled, you know, sort of like gives you the element of speed, curvature, you know, like as it's, you know, so you could tell, you could see how this thing would fight. It's like a brute, you know. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic unit. And, yeah, Manarius is basically here, and he's been charged with fighting off this Black Legion on this planet. And, yeah, so this guy here, now, it does tell you his name here. I'm just going to go here for a second. So, where are we? He's Lord of the Daemonkin. All right. And I did have it before. Vorash Soulflayer. Right? So his name is Vorash Soulflayer. All right, and he's basically the guy in charge of the flesh vats, of the flesh factories there, within the Neckerman Gauntlet. Okay, so basically here, I'll just read this top section. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the battle for the Neckerman Gauntlet is about to heat up on Nemegeist, and it won't be long before Shadowspear is unleashed upon the world. But who is behind the dark events that have taken place there? It's fair to say that things have gone pretty badly for the Imperium, courtesy of a certain master of possession and his inner circle of black legionaries. Right? Him. Alright? So, Vorash Soulflayer. Alright? But before we learn more about this evil mastermind, let's take a closer look at the planet upon which the action takes place. Now, essentially, so it's like I said, it's a moon in an asteroid field away from Vigilus. But I'll just read this next section just very quickly. The industrial world of Nemegeist lies on the outskirts of the Vigilus system, surrounded by a mineral-rich swirl of asteroids and comets that make it one of the most valuable planets in the sector. So it's very good. So you can see how that's valuable now because of all the minerals and stuff on the asteroids. Chaos have basically got all the fuel that they need for their cloning vats and stuff. So the advent of the Great Rift unleashed all manner of horrors, transforming once loyal Imperial worlds into charnel hellscapes and spilling the hideous denizens of the warp into reality. Such was the fate that befell Nemegeist when its elliptical orbit saw it plunge into the shadow of the rolling warp storms. When the planet eventually re-emerged, all communication from the planet had fallen ominously silent. Okay, here you could see like an inside sort of artwork on the in the flesh vats in the conversion chambers, and I imagine, you know, there's Vorash Soulflayer basically looking at one of his latest creations, the Spider Walker, and you know, like, I love that unit too. My wallet is going to be so taxed, everybody. It's not funny. Abaddon converted the Vigilus system. With it came control of the Neckerman Gauntlet, one of the few stable routes for Imperial ships to traverse the Great Rift. Nemegeist offered the War Master the perfect staging post to gather a powerful force in secret, all the while denying the Imperial a valuable asset in terms of resources and industry. At Abaddon's command, elements of the Black Legion made planetfall on Nemegeist, even as the world writhed upon the grip of the Great Rift. Alright, so... And this part's pretty important as well, so I'll just go through this, because we actually finally have the answer to, like, who they're referring to as the Daemonkin, and who is, you know, the Master, the Lord of the Daemonkin. And it's pretty much answered here. The Lord of the Daemonkin is Vorash Soulflayer. Alright, and you know, the Daemonkin are basically, you know, the soulless, the evil sort of, you know, merging of man, machine, flesh and soul, and dark magic, warp magic, to create these mechanical abominations. So that's what they are, and that's what it says here. So, Lord of the Daemonkin, commanding the Black Legionaries on Nemegeist, is a dread sorcerer who can create hybrid abominations by fusing demon, machine, and mortal flesh. He is Vorash, the Soulflayer, and he holds the title of Master of Possession. In the name of the War Master, he serves as the overlord of multitudes of Daemonkin warriors and demon engines from his dread stronghold, the Forge Infernus. From the chambers of Ascension at the summit of the monolithic forge, Soulflayer draws forth creatures of the warp to bind with willing or even unwilling supplicants and bolsters the ranks of his Daemonkin. So yeah, it's pretty much the whole Quake 4 scenario, or the Borg, where they're just basically just assimilating people. They don't care. They're just turning them into weapons. So Vorash Soulflayer is every bit the occult arch magister. In battle, he drifts forwards upon invisible waves of raw power, his horned skull helm sweeping the battlefield for suitable hosts to drag, screaming back to the Forge Infernus for possession. He strikes down the unworthy with his Belial staff of simply immolates them with his maleficent power. Alright, so he's going to be a pretty brutal unit, this guy, I'm pretty sure. Right, so look, I won't keep going there. There's nothing actually more about the possessed unit. They kind of just sort of dropped this in here. I think it was basically just to do with the fact that everybody was saying, look, guys, you know, Games Workshop, you know, if you're going to make like an 80-day countdown, you know, you've got to be releasing stuff, you know, and I personally feel this countdown has been like way too long. You do not need, like, you know, this big of a countdown. You know, and if you are going to do it, then just have content to release. Like, you know, you could have shown us the box. I mean, Games Workshop could have gone and shown us even one side by now. But anyway, look, so I'm pretty sure by the time the weekend's up, we should be getting a review of the complete box. I'm hoping to see more of those Primaris flying heavy weapons teams. And I'm also hoping very much to see basically a transport or a flyer for the Primaris. And I was saying that it was a scout transport, much like the Land Speeder, okay, but Land Speeder Storm. Only Adonis was basically saying that he reckons it might be some bikes or some hover bikes. And considering we have a lot of scouts going in on this box, it's very true. It pretty much could be. Right, so we'll just have to wait and see, everybody, and see what happens. And I'm really excited, and I hope you're very excited too. And I can't wait to get a hold of this box and that as well. And I want to try to do a giveaway if we can get to 700 subscribers before it's released. So, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please consider subscribing. We do Warhammer content, very regularly throughout the week. News, reviews, tactics, the whole works. And even if not, look, just thank you so much for watching anyway. And thank you very much to all my viewers and subscribers as well, and I look forward to opening this box up with you guys, and maybe doing some painting competitions and stuff like that, and seeing your work as well. All right, everybody, fantastic, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Oh, and so Only Adonis is also organizing a tournament in his local area around Texas. So I'll be doing some videos on that, to have a chat about that, to basically, talk about that. And, if you're looking for any tournament games in the USA around that area, I'll drop a comment in the comments down below, and, or reply to one of Only Adonis's comments, and I'm sure that he can get you in there, on the tournament action. All right, everybody, Steve, Command Center Wargaming. I'll see you in the next video. The Emperor protects.